So, in today's video, we are going to go over the onslaught of what happened last night for the DC universe going forward. And yes, I did see this unfold in real time on Twitter and see everyone's reactions, but it was pretty late here in England. I noticed it around midnight, and I thought I'd wait to the following morning before I make a video on it, because just like I thought, a lot of people are taking this Hollywood Reporter article out of context. Remember, only James Gunn and Pete Safran know what is going on. They have to present whatever they want to do with this DC plan, DC Bible, to David Zaslav. And David Zaslav has to agree to it. He has to okay it. So whatever this article actually says, it's not factual. Yeah, sure, it's more reliable than what the Twitter scoopers say, but it's not 100% fact. So, yo, what is good, YouTube? Warstu here. If you are new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, DC, pop culture-based content that we try to deliver on a daily basis. If you could, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and let me know down below, what is your take on this Hollywood Reporter article? It's very endearing and very fascinating. Also, if you could check us out on Instagram at Warstu to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice, and if you could check us out on Twitter, WarstuG. Right, let's break it down properly. So, it first started last night when the information came out that Wonder Woman 3 was not going forward, and Patty Jenkins' script alongside Jeff Johns was rejected. Jeff Johns has a very bad reputation, pretty much ruined DC Comics, so anyone doing a script with Jeff Johns is gonna get a hard L. You gotta understand, James Gunn and Pete Safran do not want to be attached to any drama. So, Wonder Woman 3 basically got rejected, but it's the context what I feel like a lot of people are missing out here. It's not like they said, Gal Gadot, you are fired. You are 100% fired. All it said was, multiple sources tell the Hollywood Reporter that Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3 is not moving forward and considered to be dead and its current incarnation. What does that mean? It doesn't align with what the new heads of DC Studios want. Sources say that Jenkins reportedly submitted her treatment co-writer with Jeff Johns and Gunn and Safran, as well as Warner Brothers Pictures co-chairs and CEOs Michael DeLuca, Pam Abdu, broke the news to the filmmaker, telling her the project, as it stood, did not fit in with the new, but still unfolding plans. Jenkins directed and co-wrote the previous two movies starring Gal Gadot, released in 2017 and 2020. No decision has been made about the next step. So this does not say, Gal, you're not Wonder Woman anymore. You've got to remember, David Zaslav said before he took over, I want the future of DC to be based around Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. So whatever the plan is with James Gunn and Pete Safran, it's got to be centric around them characters predominantly. So it reportedly went on to say the third installment, Gal, according to sources, was on track for 20 million payday for Wonder Woman 3, while Jenkins would have received 12 million. Those figures don't include any possible backed bonuses. So Wonder Woman 3 is dead and buried at the moment. But this is not the most interesting thing about the article. It's very interesting. So the Wonder Woman franchise future is unclear. Gal Gadot's portrayal of the hero isn't clear. Would it fit into the new DC plan? In a bit of a head-scratching timing, Gal Gadot tweeted out of the blue a thank you to the fans on Tuesday, saying she was grateful to be allowed to play the heroine and role model, adding, can't wait to share her next chapter with you. It was unclear whether or not the actress knew the project was being toe-tagged. So if you do go and look at this post now, it's almost a goodbye message. But it's not a goodbye message, because let's break it down. So we know that Gal Gadot is actually appearing in Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods, and she's also appearing in The Flash somewhat, and she was supposed to appear in an ending scene. Whether they use it or not, we don't know. The rest of DC slate remains in flux, or at least being kept deep in the pockets of Gunn's own utility belt, but there are several rumors and possible scenarios to consider ahead of next week's meeting. Now, what's interesting here is this article keeps saying, according to sources, and then you go to James Gunn's tweet. He says, unless it comes from me or Pete Safran, you're talking absolute nonsense. So should we just get rid of the whole article and discredit the whole article because it didn't come from Gunn? But this line here has set the SnyderVerse fans on fire. The first, which builds on the shattering of Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3, is the closure curtain of the SnyderVerse and the heroes cast by filmmaker Zack Snyder for his own Justice League. Those see the shutting down of Man of Steel 2 with the return of Henry Cavill when having no more Aquaman, fronted by Jason Momoa. So the articles is getting at the fact there's no Wonder Woman 3. The SnyderVerse is dead and buried. Maybe. We don't know. It all depends if Gunn actually uses the characters casted by Snyder. So it went on to say the highly anticipated Flash movie, set to release the 16th, Henry Cavill shot his part for a cameo in the movie in September, but sources say there's a debate on whether the studio should use that or not, because if they do, the inclusion promises something else from the studio that they have no plans on delivering. So is Henry Cavill out again? I don't know. I feel like this article is basically baiting you into thinking something that's not actually true. So it seems like there may have been some informal agreement between Pam and Mike DeLuca for Henry Cavill Superman to return. This was before they brought in the new heads of DC Studios. So whatever agreement they had there, I don't know if it's actually set in stone now. The Rock's also kind of been screwed, but let's be honest, if you've got to go to Twitter and beg and say, yeah, my movie did make money. Now, what movie star, what studio starts tweeting about how much money their movie made? No, Avengers, I mean, yeah, there were a few tweets when Endgame made, but Endgame made record-breaking money. That's a bit different to barely breaking it. I mean, realistically, they haven't broke even, barely. And then it goes on, so the first Captain America did $370 million. Please behave, Rock. Also, the budget for that movie was $55 million less. If you add inflation, Black Adam would come nowhere near what Captain America did. It's kind of embarrassing and desperate. I really like that movie, but why did he have to do that? So, the Cavill situation is more than a little thorn, as the actor made a cameo in Black Adam. Okay, he did. I want to make it official. I am back as Superman. I don't know. Was he back as Superman? We don't know. And then the article goes on to say that as of now, pretty much no one knows what's going on with Man of Steel 2, if there is even anything going on there. It does go on to say something interesting. Andy Muschietti, who directed The Flash, even expressed interest in sitting behind the camera for something that would have brought a tone similar to the hopeful and heroic colours of the 1978 movie, directed by Richard Donner, considered a benchmark in comic movies. In fact, the current leadership at Warner Bros. Pictures, Michael DeLuca and Pam, did desire one more go-around of the SnyderVerse heroes, possibly even having another Justice League movie. Now, we need to stop this bit here, because people have taken this like, hang on a minute, they were going to restore the SnyderVerse. They were going to do Justice League 2 and 3. No, it literally just says they were going to use SnyderVerse characters for a potential Justice League 2 and 3. Not quite the same thing as saying they were going to restore the SnyderVerse. But this obviously was before Gunn and Safran began formulating their new and still in flux plan, which, like I keep saying, needs to be confirmed by Zaslav and needs to be approved by Warner Brothers Discovery. Just because of the head of the studio, they still report to David Zaslav. So it's not set in stone. So Johnson hoped to carve out his own piece of the DC pie, but multiple sources say he's playing up of the returning of Cavill, and his involvement with DC may not be endearing him to the new management. Johnson and Cavill are both managed by Danny Garcia, who is also Johnson's producer partner for 7 Bucks Productions, aka the company that made Black Adam in association with Warner Bros. Pictures. Yeah, it's basically going on about how he basically begged, and it's not very likely, according to this article, that we're going to get Black Adam 2, or there's going to be any Justice League of America build-up, or Dr. Fate, or Hawkman, which is a shame because them characters were pretty good. Then it goes to say Momoa, meanwhile, could emerge as a pivotal figure in the new plans. According to several sources that know nothing, in one scenario, the actor would wrap up days as underwater hero Arthur Curry with The Lost City due to come out next Christmas, which would be the final movie release that would be in the previous regime. It's interesting. So it basically goes on to say Aquaman 2 is going to be Jason Momoa's last movie, and then he's being lined up to be Low. So although this is coming from one of the most prestige Hollywood trades, it's still rumor mill stuff, because until either David Zaslav comes out and says something, or Pete Safran, or James Gunn, this is all gospel. It's like, sure, maybe Black Adam 2 isn't coming, maybe Man of Steel 2 isn't coming. I mean, the only thing that actually has really been confirmed in this article is Wonder 1 and 3. Now, essentially, the whole article can be recapped on the next segment. So it goes on to say they want no baggage from any previous regime as they set about how DC movies and shows are made. However, it does not take into account the possible success of movies such as Shazam! Fury of the Gods, on which Safran is a producer, and Blue Beetle, would the plan include forging ahead without the actors who inhabit those characters, or recasting them even, if the movies prove to be a box office success. So basically, it does appear that the narrative and the kind of agenda with this Hollywood article is to basically say no one is safe. They could recast everything, they could scrap everything. But the biggest problem that they have, if they come out and say They're rebooting and re-scrapping everything and recasting everyone. No one will go watch The Flash, Aquaman 2, Blue Beetle, Shazam 2. Nobody will go and watch the movies because it's not going to be connected to anything. This is why it's very interesting when all these scoops come out. Henry Cavill was out, now he's in, now he's out, now he's in, and it keeps going back and forth. Obviously, we know the Robert Pattinson movie, the Batman 2, that's completely different. Matt Reeves has his own major deal with Warner Bros. Discovery. Won't be touched. Joker 2 won't be touched. We know they are definitely coming. It went on to say, observers are convinced the plan calls for an interconnected story universe. There is rumblings of the establishment of a creative brain trust. The brain trust may already be rolling in some capacity. As sources say, Safran had in recent weeks been meeting with writers at his LA home in an effort to hone the presentation, gathering feedback and ideas for the plan. One part, the Gunn Safran agenda, seems likely not to touch, at least for now, as the Matt Reeves Batman universe with Robin Pattinson. Yeah, they've got a massive deal there. They're not going to touch that. And Joker 2 banged, or the first Joker banged $1 billion, so they're not going to touch that. So I'm not really worried about anything based on this article because it is the Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, I get it. It's prestige and it's respected, but the Hollywood Reporter also said there was no Snyder Cut. And, you know, the Snyder Cut happened, didn't it? Yeah. It did happen. So it is what it is. You got to take it with a pinch of salt. Nothing we've gone over in today's video is set in stone because until David Zaslav, who is expected to meet Gunn and Safran next week, the Warner Bros. Discovery CEO is in charge. He has to okay whatever their plan is. So don't worry. There's no point worrying about anything until you know what is going on. We know everything's built into this DC Bible or the blueprint. And to be honest, it would make a lot of sense from a business point of view to scrap everything and restart. But the problem with that is they've got 4 major movies coming out next year. And if they say, yeah, we are literally scrapping everything, then there's no point watching any movie next year. I don't think James Gunn is that stupid. I don't think Pete Safran is that stupid. I've actually had a conversation with Pete Safran in person at the Shazam premiere in UK a few years ago. He's a very articulate, he's a very nice guy. He's spoken very well. He's intelligent. He loves the Shazam characters. Had a pretty cool 5-10 minute conversation before the Shazam movie when I watched that. So I don't believe that James Gunn and Pete Safran are going to scrap absolutely everything. They might get rid of things here and there, but they're not going to get rid of absolutely everything. Or else why would James Gunn be handing notes to all these movies that are coming out to change things here and there? Because it's got to align. Whatever's going to happen will have to take place during the Flash movie because that is going to reboot the timeline. It's going to have a new universe at the end of the movie, which allegedly Gal Gadot and Henry Cavill did shoot something for. It was not shown in the most recent test screener. That's why the internet went crazy because they're like, yo, Henry Cavill's been cut. And then the internet goes even crazier because like, yeah, the whole universe is being cut. But we've always known that the DC movie called The Flash was going to start a new timeline. This is nothing new. The only difference is now we have new studio heads in charge. We don't know what's going to happen in this new timeline. We don't know how everything is going to be affected. But then the article was like, yo, Jason Momoa's last appearance was Aquaman 2. But according to people like Viewer Anon, he recently tweeted that Aquaman 2 ends on a cliffhanger scene. I don't think they're going to get rid of absolutely everyone, recasting a whole universe starting from scratch. Because Peacemaker Season 2 is coming, another Suicide Squad movie. You can't axe everything else and keep Peacemaker and keep the Suicide Squad because guess what? The Suicide Squad is canon to the DC universe. Peacemaker is also canon to the DCU universe. So in a roundabout way, nothing can be rebooted fully. It might get rebooted a little bit, but they're not going to scrap everything. So guys, chill. Is Henry Cavill Superman? We've got no idea. Is warstu going to be in The Flash? Well, I did go to London during the time they were shooting, so I can't confirm or deny because of an ND yet. Hey, okay, I didn't say anything, but just wait. Just watch The Flash and you might get a little surprise. Maybe. So likewise, guys, don't worry, chill, relax, nothing's changed. The SnyderVerse could be dead. There's no point worrying until we actually know what is going on. Like I said, the Hollywood Reporter is a prestige Hollywood trade, but still, they don't know what James Gunn and Pete Safran's overall plan is. We don't know. David Zaslav might be like, yo, you're not rebooting a universe. You've got to include all the current characters because Zaslav could literally say that if he wanted to. So don't worry, but make sure to subscribe and comment or everything down below what you think. Check us out on Instagram at warstu. Check us out on Twitter, warstu G, and I will catch you in another video very soon, guys. Catch you later.